Yes, YouTube, we are back. The date is the 31st of December, so we're just heading into 2026. Now, this episode going to be a little bit of a different one. I am obviously going to include some stuff on training. However, it's going to be more about setting goals and reflection. Now, I'm not someone who reflects a lot, and especially this last few weeks, I've been thinking, God, have I done enough this year? Have I not done enough? And I always think there's room for improvement. However, I've been drafting up like a 2025 roundup post, and I've done okay. I'm proud, but I'm not satisfied. That's the best way that I can phrase it. Like, I'm okay with where I'm at, but I'm not like super happy. I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I would say I am generally quite ambitious. So I'm shooting to achieve a decent level of success, and I'm just not there yet. But I'm 24, so I need to cut myself a little bit of slack. Anyway, if you haven't already done this or you've not put any thought into it, something that I think is really, really important, no matter how old you are, no matter what you're doing at the moment, is to set some goals. So 3 categories that I like to pick: personal, professional, financial. So personal goal could be losing 30 kilos, it could be stepping on stage, it could be getting abs for the first time. Professional, a work-based goal, so earning a promotion, moving jobs, potentially moving country if that's what you want to do. And then obviously financial, so saving up 5 grand, saving up 20 grand, whatever that might be. But I think having those goals there gives you a sense of direction. Even if you're feeling a little bit lost and you're just going through the motions, you know that you're shooting for X, whatever X is in your perspective. But I think that the benefit to having those goals set there is so important. It really is. You keep shaking. Hopefully that's better. So yeah, if you've not set any goals, I've actually created a worksheet that you can go through. There's a list of loads of questions. It runs through setting different goals, what you actually need to do to get to those goals, what changes you need to make, what you need to leave behind. So if you're watching this video and you would like me to send you that worksheet for free, just comment 2026 in the comment section and I'll literally just send it straight over to you. Goals for me as of next year, I'm not going to delve into financial because I think that's a little bit private, but in terms of goals that I've got set in place at the moment, competing late next year, so the date is booked. I'm a little bit nervous. It's the posing that makes me nervous. God, I suppose it's just a case of practicing, and practice makes perfect, but I'm getting a little bit chunky at the moment and my posing's not great. But it doesn't look great. So I know there's a lot of room for improvement, and I know it's just a case of putting the work in, which I will do. But where I'm at currently, I know there's a lot of room for improvement, so I'm a bit like, a bit shaky. So yeah, competing late next year. Business-wise, I'd love to host a team event with 20 people. That's one of the goals that I've discussed with my mentor. I think that's probably the next sort of benchmark in terms of having a team event. I've already done a couple of team events around 10 people each time, so taking that to the next level, potentially hiring out a venue, getting some tables sorted, having like a proper seminar, doing some proper teaching. That would be the goal in terms of team events. I would love to do another group photo shoot with more people on it. More is always better. So the last one we did, there was 5 boys plus me, obviously not going to include myself, so 5 fellas. I'd love to do a group photo shoot with 10 double digits, but again, we'll just have to see how things pan out over the next year. In terms of professional goals, it's not really professional, it's geographical, and the flight is already booked. I'm heading over to Dubai at the start of February 1st. I'm unsure how long I'm going for yet. The visa I've got, I can stay for 90 days. I need to see how things will pan out when I get there. The reason that I'm going over is, first of all, to see my girlfriend. She's working over there. But other than that, I would like to live in Dubai in the long run. That's my sort of end goal. I don't actually know if I enjoy living there. I've been on a few holidays, but I feel like going on a holiday and actually living there, 2 completely different things. So I want to just test out the waters to see what it's like in terms of traffic on the roads, training, getting food shops, just to see if I actually enjoy living there. I feel like until I've actually been over for at least a month and I've been in conditions where I'm pretty much living there, I would not know what it's like. So that'll be good to get that box ticked off. I'll actually know if that end goal is what I genuinely want to do. And if it's not, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm currently living at home, and as much as I do love living with my parents, I don't want to because I need my own space. I feel like I'd be a little bit more productive and I'd just enjoy it a little bit more if I did have my own space. That's just where I'm at currently in terms of my headspace. So yeah, a few little goals there. I have got some more. I'm not going to delve into all my goals because we'll be sat here for a while, but I think it's really good to spend a good chunk of time on your goals and put some proper proper thought into it, what you need to do to get there, what you need to change, and make them realistic. I think make them ambitious, but make them realistic. Don't be looking at that and thinking, there's no chance. But look at it and think, oh, like that scares you a little bit. You're going to need to do a lot and you're going to need to potentially change a lot to get there. I think those sorts of goals that are a little bit outlandish and are going to cause you to really push and drive are incredibly beneficial because it will show you what you're truly capable of. That's enough waffling. We're in for a big pull day, last one of the year. So we've got deads on the cards, which I'm a little bit nervous for, but I'm looking forward to them. So I'm going to get myself to the gym and I will catch you people inside on exercise number 1. Yes, peeps, so we are in. I've actually just done a couple of warm-up sets on a different machine because this one was taken. So I'm going to do one warm-up on here near to my working weight and then we're going to get cracking. Looking forward to this session, last one of 2025. It's a big one. Want to be finishing on a high. Also, if you're an avid trainer and you're not training back with straps, what are you playing at? If you train back without any straps, it's like the most new move. Easy money. Got 2 sets on this bad boy, obviously doing one arm at a time. One thing that a lot of people get wrong with pull downs and back exercises, you don't get this seat in the right place, this little seat pad. You want to be fully locked in so that you literally can't move. And creating that stability is going to help to increase your force output, which means you can get more reps out. Like if you're moving around and you're shaking and jingling around in the seat, it's not going to do you any favors. Like on every lift, we need to create as much stability as we can. So get this seat set up in the right place. If any of you do an exercise like this single arm lat pull down, you want to shift your bum far back on the pad because if you really scoot in and you're having to lean back, transferring some of that tension from your lats to your upper back, which is not what we want. So scoot your bum back, try and get your body in line with your arm path. That's going to help you to shift a lot of the tension to your lat as opposed to your upper back. For my back as well, my right side is my weaker side. So whenever I'm doing any single arm work, I'm always going to do my right side first. Just before I do my set with the left side, another important point to bear in mind is that whenever you're doing any sort of lat movement, you want to try and pretend that your hand, your wrist and your forearm don't exist. They're just a means of gripping the handle because if you pull with your hand and your wrist and your forearm, you're going to take some of that tension away from the lat. So whenever you're doing a lat-based movement, think about moving with the elbow, driving with the elbow, getting that elbow into your pocket. And doing that is going to help you to remove any bicep engagement. It's going to allow you to shift all that tension onto the lats, which is just where we want it. Like when you pull with your wrist and your forearm, you'll see a lot of people are sort of rowing into their chest and the forearm is actually raising up as they're coming into the movement. Now, we don't want that. Ideally, your wrist and forearm will stay directly in line with the path of the movement. So for example, on this movement, I'm going to be coming down and then back. So my forearm should be staying directly in line with that motion. Another tip that's massively helped me out with my back training because I've always struggled to connect and train my back, especially on this movement. When you come into the lengthened part of the rep, have a little pause there and then make sure that when you're squeezing down, it's actually a lat that's doing the work because I feel like whenever you do any back movements, it's very easy for you to get the other back muscles involved and use a little bit of momentum. But if we're trying to make each rep as effective as possible, you want to ensure that the target muscle group is doing all of the work or as much of the work as possible. So have that little pause at the top, feel the lat, squeeze. Another nice little cue that's good for these types of movements is you want to think to try and tense your armpit. So you see a lot of people when they're doing a lat movement, their elbow is not tight to the body. We don't want that. For your lat movements, you want your elbow to be really tight to your body. So think to tense your armpit and then drive the movement with your elbow. Got one more set on here, just my left side, and then we're on to some nasty deads. Done a couple of warm-ups. My lower back is feeling hot. I messaged my coach, I said, my lower back's just not recovering from my sessions, what could it be? And he said, could be because your body weight's pushing up and then just general fatigue. Plus I do actually have a problem with my L5S1 disc, which is right at the bottom. I think I'm just doing a little bit too much, but I've done a couple of warm-ups with this. Like this is fairly light and my back is good. So yeah, I did want to take 175 for a spin, but I don't think that's going to be doable. So I'm going to warm up with 150, see how that feels, and then I'll see and assess. If my back's feeling a little bit sore, I don't want to train it because I might get injured, and that's not what I want. So I'm just going to test the waters and see how I get on. I was doing my morning walk this morning, 5,000 steps, and after probably 2-3k, I could feel my lower back. I was like, God, it's just like a dull ache. I can just feel it. So see how 150's feeling. Also, something that's a little bit peak. I know I'm getting fat because my belt barely fits now. My belly's poking out over my belt. Oh God, it's not a pretty sight. I'm going to call it for the deads. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I'm going to pack up the deads, head onto horizontal machine rack. Just a tip, if you're training and you pick up a little niggle or something's not sitting quite right, don't continue training, because if you have got a little niggle or something feels a little bit off, if you train and you put pressure onto that area, chances are you are going to get injured. You're going to massively increase that risk, and then you get injured and you're out of training, you're heading the wrong way. So if you feel that something's a little bit off, something's out of the norm, just take a step back, head on to the next exercise, see if that's okay, and then you can crack on. Especially because I've had issues with my lower back in the past where I've been out for a long time. I don't want that to happen again. So yeah, safety is #1 priority for me. Who used to say that? The crazy Russian hacker. If any of you remember that. So I'm going to get these weights packed up and then I head on to horizontal machine rack. Key points for this movement, you want to drive the movement with your shoulder blades and then drive your elbows back. Similar to the lat movement I mentioned before, you want to pretend that your hands, your wrists and your forearms don't exist. They are just a means of gripping the handles, but all of the movement is coming from shoulder blades and elbows. I've not actually done any direct upper back work yet, so I'm going to do a few warm-up sets on this because I am going to go heavy. Another important point I want to mention is breathing and bracing. Last time I was in the gym training pull, actually I was training with a client, James, and he actually stopped on this machine early because his breathing was off. Basically, with your breathing and bracing, as you're coming into the stretch, you want to take a big breath in, tense your core, keep everything tight, and then you drive back, and as you're coming into that contracted position, that's when you breathe out. And then you lower, you breathe back in, brace, squeeze, drive, breathe out, brace, drive. And if you can nail that on every single exercise, I guarantee you will squeeze out so many more reps because it's incredibly important. If you're doing sets that are 10+ reps, you are going to gas out if your breathing's off. So if you can get that breathing nailed and get that bracing nailed, I can guarantee it will massively improve your training, which in the long run can give you better results. Something else to focus on. I feel like being a beginner in the gym, this was especially true with me. It's like learning a new language. Like everything's weird, everything's foreign. But once you've got it all to a decent standard, it's fucking great. You're in great shape, you know what you're doing, you know what to do with your diet, cardio. When you know how to program a training plan and a diet plan to actually get you results, it feels phenomenal. That's why I do what I do. Another pointer, this video's full of pointers, man. If you do use straps for your back training, don't use them unless they are necessary. But I'm doing 3 warm-up sets. I'm not going to use my straps at all because if you put straps on straight away, you're essentially neglecting a little bit of forearm training that's going to be beneficial. Like if your forearms are weak as piss, that's going to affect other lifts like chest movements, arm movements, curls. So train them where you can. Get your straps on only when they're essential. Right, we're in then, peeps. I had to put you a little bit far away because I'm going to need a lift off for this. I've got 120 kilos on it. I don't weigh 120 kilos, so I can't use my weight to lift the weight up. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, mate. PB, 9 reps. Happy with that. If any of you have got access to these prime machines, you'll see most people put all of the weight on peg 3, or they'll put most on peg 3 and some on peg 2. Now, the reason for that is peg 3 makes the lift the heaviest in the lengthen range. Now, in muscle building terms, like the lengthened part of the rep is where we find the most tension. It's going to stimulate the most growth. So it makes more sense to make that part of the movement more challenging. Also, most muscle groups are strongest in the lengthened position, so it makes sense to make that part of the lift more challenging. Shouldn't really use the bottom peg because that makes the shortened part of movement more difficult, and that doesn't really make any sense from a hypertrophy standpoint. However, it can be useful if you've got an injury. If you're not injured and you're in full health, I would put 70 to 80% on the top peg and the rest on the middle peg. And then as you go on to set 2, and if you do set 3 as well, put all of the weight on the top peg. Another reason for that is as you become more fatigued and you train a muscle more and more throughout the session, it becomes much harder to actually contract the muscle and get the muscle into a short position. So it makes sense to take some of the load off the short and add it into the lengthened part of the rep. So we're on to the penultimate back exercise. Got a horizontal back bias row. Same machine, feel like a bit of a dick because I'm hogging the machine, but I'm competing next year, so if anyone's waiting, tough shit. Because I've already done some direct lat work, I'm just going to do 1 warm-up set. So my top set is going to be 50 I've got 40 on here. Just going to crank out a few reps and then head up to my top set. Right side is my weakest, so I'm going to do my right side first. Same as the first leg movement, you want your arm to be going in the same path as the machine. So obviously this is a horizontal row. So you want your forearm to be parallel with the ground, moving in that horizontal pattern. And by doing that, you're going to be driving the movement with your elbow, which means you're going to be driving all the movement with your lats, which is just what we want. Another point for this movement, you see pretty much everyone, so many people, they'll twist into the rep and they'll twist outside of the rep. If you want to keep all the tension on your lats, you want to keep your torso facing forward. You need to brace with your free arm, tense your core, keep your body stable, and then just ensure that you're not twisting your body. All the movement is coming from straightening your arm and then obviously driving your elbow back, keeping all that tension on the lats. 6 to beat, 6 reps a beat. Seven, 1 rep PB. It's hard keeping your torso straight. I think a lot of what happens is people be fine for the first few reps, and then when they start to struggle, which is the same on every movement, like when you're doing a rep effectively and you start to struggle, your body is going to try and make that movement easier so you can actually finish the rep. But that's what you need to avoid. You need to ensure that every single rep looks the exact same. So if you're going and you hit a sticking point and you can't break past that sticking point without turning your body, that's the end of the set. You can't do anymore. Don't maneuver your body and don't twist and don't wiggle around to finish a rep because it's not a proper rep. Right, this is my last back exercise, so no warm-ups needed. I've hit my back adequately. This is just to finish off. So I've got 2 sets on here. I'm gonna get straight into a working set. Back onto competing then. When I step on stage, it will have been 2.5 years in the making. It's going to be some serious pressure on that. Although I've come to the realisation that, as cringy as this sounds, when I get on stage, it's me versus me. Like, although I do put in a lot of work in terms of lifting, I've not got elite genetics. Far from it. There are things that go on in competitive bodybuilding that are out of my control. Like from now up until I actually step on stage, I'm going to be putting a major shift in, making sure I don't set a foot wrong. But when I get on stage, if someone's got better genetics than me and they're matching my work ethic, not a lot I can do. Another thing I realised as well, so the first competition that I'm doing will be a first timers competition. I'm hoping that I do actually do more than one. Like if I'm prepping and I'm putting all that effort into it to get in stage condition, I want to do more than one show. But the first show, the first timers show, I could be competing against fellas that are like 35 who have just decided to step on stage. But I mean, in terms of bodybuilding and building muscle and time and skin in the game, someone who's 35 is going to have a lot more muscle than I am. I'm only 24. So there are a lot of variables that come into play, but from now up until I compete, I'm just going to try and enjoy the process as much as possible. Yeah, that's all I can do. I'm a very competitive person. Like at anything, I want to win. I'm playing to win, not just to take part. But bodybuilding is one of those things where some things are out of my control. Genetics, there's not a lot I can do about that. Can only do what I can do. So fingers crossed, all goes well. I've also had news from my coach Reese that the show that I'm doing is the most popular one, so probably going to be the most competitive one, which is good because I'll be able to see where I fare in terms of competing in the future. This is my first show, so I'm not sure if I'll actually enjoy it or if I want to do another one, but I feel like as a coach, it's good for me to lead from the front and show people that I can get in stage condition and get field. And I am looking forward to it. It's a goal that I want to get ticked off. So yeah, only time will tell, and we'll see where we end up. Right then, peeps, just wrapped up the session. I have just done a couple of bicep exercises, but I couldn't film them because I didn't have any room to put my tripod down. So I did a couple of sets of hammer curls, a couple of sets of incline cable curls. Now my session's done, so let's do a little bit of posing. Something I definitely need to practice on a lot, and I have been, but need to practice a little bit more. 100 and, what was I this morning? Fasted weight 101.4, which is what I was yesterday, and had a low day yesterday, which is a little bit weird, and I was resting. Well, I'm happy with the condition, holding a decent bit of size. Just need bigger lats, more lats, bigger everything, but lats especially. My back holds a lot of fat. I feel like my front's a lot leaner than my back. especially here at the bottom. Oh, it's horrible. I was saying to my mum yesterday, I know when I'm getting fat because when I've got my boxers on my joggers, my love handles are popping over the side, which is disgusting. I hate it, but needs must for the bulk. If I want to build muscle, that's what I need to endure and to go through. So. I feel like that's a decent pose. Back double's not great for me because my lats are not that good. Right, that's going to wrap up the session then, peeps. I'm going to do 25 minutes of cardio and then I'll catch you in my car for a little wrap up. Yes, peeps, session wrapped up. I've just finished my cardio. I've just been sat chatting for ages, so I'm actually dry now. I'm all sweaty, I need to have a shower. Your boy's looking hella homeless as well. I need to have a shave, I need to get a trim, and I need to shave my body as well. I'm hoping you couldn't see on those back poses, but my back, it's like a rug. It's like a Persian rug. It's disgusting. Anyway, enough of that. So yeah, just to sort of summarize the video, everyone watching this should go and sit down, spend a good few hours setting out some goals for next year. Some goals that are relatively easy to tick off, because I feel like if you set loads of goals and you hit none of them, that's very demotivating. That's not what you want. You do want to get some of them boxed off, if not all. So set some that are more than achievable. Set some that are going to cause you to push the boat out a little bit, to really push some effort in and drive. And I can guarantee you'll surprise yourself with what you're actually able to achieve. I've got some big goals for next year. I would like to move out. I would like to move over to Dubai if all goes well, but that's going to be a massive push for me. I'm only 24. I feel like when I first started coaching, I was like, oh, I want to be living in Dubai in a year. That was unrealistic. Now, the more that I get into coaching, the more that I realise that it takes time to build a business and build a brand and get enough people on board to sustain living in Dubai, because it's expensive, it really is. I've ran some figures, and for me to live in Dubai comfortably, I'd probably need to be earning circa 10k a month. I don't mind talking figures with all of you on YouTube. I know some people are a little bit iffy about finances and figures. I'm not. I'm an open book. So for me to move over to Dubai, probably need to be earning 10k a month pretty consistently, which I'm not quite there yet. I'm not going to go into figures. I'm not going to go into numbers. It's in the relative near future, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. Who knows? Especially in the coaching game, I've realised that it's hard to project where you're going to be in X amount of time, because if you get some people that hop on board and they achieve genuinely incredible results, that's going to speed up the process a little bit. On the other side of the coin, if you have a little bit of a slow period and you're not getting many people on board, or the people that you do get on board, they're not giving you great results, not a lot you can do there. So yeah, it's not a game of chance. It's definitely the level of success that you have is in direct accordance with the amount of effort that you're putting in. And I'm putting a lot of effort in. So hopefully things continue on the way that they are, maybe pick up a little bit. I'd like to see me moving at a little bit of a faster pace. But then again, that's down to me and what I'm doing and assessing things and reviewing and making amendments, trial and error. So yeah, set some goals that scare you peeps for 2026, and Happy New Year. Hope everyone has a blessed New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So that's going to wrap up the video. If you've got any questions or anything flagged up about the video, drop me a comment. I'll be happy to have a little chat with you in there. Don't forget to drop me a like. Don't forget to drop me a sub. And I will catch you people in the next one. Peace.